Imagine unknowingly helping the man who's secretly destroying your marriage. That's exactly what happened to me. Years ago, I was just doing my job as a realtor. I had no idea the quiet client I was helping find a new apartment was the same man who would later tear my family apart. This isn't just a story of betrayal. It's a story of karma, survival, and unexpected redemption. Let me take you back to where it all began. A few years ago, I was working as a realtor, just living my life, when fate dealt me a cruel hand. I ended up helping my wife's secret lover buy an apartment. Of course, at the time, I had no idea who he really was. This all happened before the pandemic changed everything. Back then, I was still going into the office every day, closing real estate deals, meeting new clients. One afternoon, a guy named Damien walked into my office. Quiet, polite, seemed like a decent enough man. He said he was looking for a studio apartment, and I agreed to help him find something that fit his budget. We hit it off professionally. He wasn't difficult, didn't haggle too much, and we eventually found him a nice studio for a great price. I even negotiated a good discount for him. I shook his hand when we closed the deal, wished him luck, and moved on with my life. Months later, early this year, a casual conversation with a mutual acquaintance took a turn I never expected. They mentioned seeing my wife, Clara, walking arm in arm with a man at an apartment complex, the very same one I had helped Damien move into. They said they looked like a couple, carrying grocery bags, laughing like everything was perfect between them. At first, I brushed it off. No way, I thought. Clara was always working, always busy. How could she have time for anything else? Plus, when the quarantine started, she told me her office had shifted to remote work. She kept up the routine, leaving early and coming home late, claiming her workload hadn't changed. But the doubt was planted. It grew. I couldn't shake it. Finally, I did something I'd never done before. I called her company. Somehow, I tracked down a number. A friendly woman answered, and without knowing who I was, casually told me that the company had gone bankrupt almost a year ago. Everyone had been laid off. I felt the blood drain from my face. That evening, when Clara came home, I confronted her. I told her everything I had learned. Her reaction was not what I expected. She didn't cry, didn't deny, didn't even flinch. She simply nodded and said, "Yeah, I've been seeing someone else for over a year." It hit me like a freight train. But I kept calm. For the sake of our son, Liam, I couldn't just explode and tear the family apart overnight. Trying to keep my voice steady, I said, "Let me get this straight. You haven't worked for a year. You've been living a double life. You leave every morning pretending to go to work, then spend your days with someone else. You think that's okay?" Clara shrugged, almost bored. "Has anything in the house changed?" she asked coldly. I blinked, thrown off by the question. Dinner was still on the table every night. Groceries were stocked. She still helped Liam with his homework. Life at home hadn't missed a beat, except for the truth beneath the surface. "I'm still working," she said, "just for someone else. I found a better paying opportunity. I've managed the bills, kept everything running. I got bored, that's all. I needed something different, but I stayed. For Liam." And with that, she walked out of the room. I stood there, my mind spinning, realizing how deeply she had compartmentalized her life, her betrayal hidden under the mask of normalcy. "No," I called after her. "This isn't going to work. Not even for Liam. I can't live a lie." After hours of emotional back and forth, we both knew the truth. We were done. We agreed on a quiet divorce. Liam would stay with Clara for now. I would pack my things and move out. We told Liam that his parents had fought and needed space, hiding the uglier details. But life has a way of revealing cracks. With me gone, all the responsibilities Clara had neglected while playing her double life came crashing down on her. She struggled, stressed, disorganized, overwhelmed. Liam noticed too. He told me how she was always tired, distracted, no longer the pillar she once pretended to be. Meanwhile, Damien faded out of the picture. The excitement wasn't enough to keep him around when reality hit. Their meetings became rare. Eventually, he moved on, leaving Clara with a huge mess and a mountain of debt from the secret loan she had taken to help him buy that apartment. A loan I hadn't known existed. Liam, tired of the chaos, asked to move in with me. "Dad, you always knew how to handle things. I want to live with you, he said one night. I didn't hesitate. And so, Liam came home to me. Clara, left to deal with the wreckage of her choices, watched her perfect little secret life crumble. In the end, it seemed karma had found its way back to her doorstep. Life after the divorce wasn't easy, but it was real. There were nights I lay awake wondering how everything could have unraveled so quietly beneath my nose. Some days the anger gnawed at me. Other days it was the sadness. But having Liam with me made everything more bearable. He needed stability. And honestly, so did I. Meanwhile, Clara was falling apart. She struggled to juggle work, parenting, and the aftermath of her choices. Friends she once confided in began to distance themselves. Word travels fast. Faster than she realized. Damien, her supposed new life, had moved to another city without warning, cutting all ties once the financial help dried up. The apartment she had bought for him, the one I had helped him find, became a millstone around her neck. Payments, maintenance, rising bills, it all kept piling up. She tried renting it out, but it stayed vacant for months. She eventually had to sell it at a loss, barely managing to cover her debts. One evening, months after Liam had come to live with me, Clara called. I almost didn't pick up. Hey, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Can we talk? I agreed, not for her, but for Liam's sake. We met at a coffee shop, a neutral ground where neither of us could easily erupt. She looked different. The polished, confident woman I had once known was gone. In her place sat someone who wore the weight of regret like a heavy coat. I messed up, she began without preamble. I thought I could have it all. I thought I was managing things, but I lost everything, didn't I? I said nothing. There was nothing left to say. Some lessons you learn only through pain. I miss him, she said quietly, referring to Liam, not the lover. I miss my son. I nodded. He misses you too, but he needed more than just presence. He needed you stable, dependable, not distracted. Tears welled up in her eyes, but she blinked them away. She wasn't asking for forgiveness. She knew better. She only asked for a chance. To be part of Liam's life again, to rebuild, even if from a distance. We worked out a plan, weekend visits, phone calls, gradual rebuilding of trust, but full custody stayed with me. In the following months, Clara started piecing her life back together, slowly. She took a job she once would have sneered at, clerical work at a local business, but she stuck with it. She stopped trying to date. She focused on Liam when she had time with him. And Liam? He grew stronger, wiser even. He learned that love isn't just about words or gestures. It's about consistency and honesty. One evening, as we were tossing a football in the backyard, he turned to me and said, "Thanks for not giving up on me, Dad, even when everything got messy." I smiled, tossing the ball back to him. That's what family does, bud. We show up even when it's hard. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of gold and purple, I realized something. Maybe I hadn't lost everything after all. Maybe, just maybe, I had finally found what truly mattered: freedom, peace, and the kind of love that never betrays. For a while, things settled into a new rhythm. Liam adjusted well, and our bond grew stronger every day. Even Clara seemed to be making slow progress, attending counseling, taking responsibility, showing up for Liam's school events, little by little rebuilding her shattered credibility. I thought the worst was behind us. I thought we were finally healing, until Damien came back. It was a random Wednesday evening when I got the call. Clara's voice, panicked, rushed through the phone. "He's back," she whispered. "Damien, he showed up at my apartment." At first, I didn't understand why she was telling me. After all, he was her mistake to deal with. But then she added, "He wants money. He says I owe him. He's threatening to tell Liam everything." My hands tightened into fists. Damien had abandoned her when the money ran dry. Now he was back to pick the bones clean. And worse, he was willing to drag Liam into it. I told her to stay put. I didn't know what I was going to do, but one thing was certain. I was done letting anyone tear apart what was left of my son's world. The next day, I went with Clara to meet Damien in a public place. A busy cafe, full of people. No drama, no violence. Damien looked exactly as I remembered. Clean-cut, charming, a wolf in human skin. But there was a desperation in his eyes now, a bitterness. He barely looked at Clara. His gaze was on me. "You owe me," he said without shame. "If it weren't for me, she'd still be your miserable housewife." I made her realize her worth. I kept my voice steady. "What do you want, Damien?" 10 grand, he smirked. "Consider it. Hush money. Or I tell your precious boy what his mother really is." I stared at him. This wasn't about money. It was about power. Control. I leaned back and smiled slightly. "Tell him," I said coolly. "Go ahead, because if you do, I promise I'll file a full police report on your threats, extortion, and the fraudulent loan you conned her into. Plus, I have the original lease agreement. You lied about your income on it, remember?" Damien's smirk faltered. He hadn't expected me to come prepared. "Get out," I said firmly. "Leave her alone. Leave Liam alone. You have nothing left here." For a long moment, he just sat there, his jaw tightening. Then he grabbed his coffee cup, sneered at both of us, and stormed out. And just like that, he was gone. Again. Aftermath. That night, Clara broke down for the first time in years. Not with excuses, not with anger, just raw, broken honesty. "I ruined everything," she sobbed. "I thought I was finding freedom. I didn't know I was trading my soul." I didn't comfort her. Some things you have to sit with yourself. But I did recognize something important. She was finally facing it. Not hiding, not justifying, just facing it. Over time, she grew into a better mother for Liam. Not perfect, not flawless, but better. And me? I found a strange kind of peace. Not the life I once imagined. No white picket fences or fairy tale endings, but a real life. Honest. Hard fought, built on something real. And Liam? He grew up knowing that loyalty matters. That mistakes can break you, but they can also teach you who you really are. He learned that love isn't always pretty, but it's the ones who stand by you after the storm who truly deserve a place in your heart. As for me, I learned that losing someone who could lie so easily wasn't really a loss at all. It was the beginning of finding myself again. Years passed like chapters in a book. Liam grew into a fine young man, tall, thoughtful, steady. He worked hard, earned a scholarship, and eventually moved out to attend university in another city. Every time he came home to visit, I saw more of the man he was becoming, and less of the boy he used to be. As for Clara, she stayed on her path of quiet redemption. She kept her job, stayed out of toxic relationships, and tried to be the best mother she could. Still, the past left scars that no amount of good intentions could completely erase. One evening, during a break from school, Liam asked me a question that made my heart stop. "Dad, can you tell me what really happened between you and Mom?" I froze for a moment. I had always promised myself I would never poison his mind against her, but he was no longer a child. He deserved the truth. Not the brutal details, but the honesty he was owed. So I told him. I kept it simple. How love sometimes isn't enough when trust is broken. How mistakes can shatter a family. How forgiveness is possible, but forgetting isn't. Liam listened quietly, his jaw tight, his eyes stormy. "I had a feeling," he said softly. "I remember things. Little things. Late nights. You looking sad. Mom being different." I sighed. "I never wanted you to be caught in the middle. We both love you. That's all you ever needed to know back then." He nodded, but I could see the weight settling on him. Not anger, not hatred, just sadness. A few days later, Liam asked to meet Clara for coffee, just the two of them. I waited, nervous but knowing it was something he had to do on his own. When he returned that evening, his face was unreadable. "How did it go?" I asked carefully. He sat down heavily on the couch, staring into the distance. "I told her I knew," he said. "I told her I wasn't a little boy anymore, and I needed to hear it from her too. I swallowed hard. And what did she say? He smiled sadly. She cried. She apologized. She didn't make excuses. She said she was selfish, scared, and stupid. He paused. She said she lost two good men because she was looking for something she already had. She just didn't realize it until it was too late. I sat there, unsure what to say. Then Liam turned to me, and in his eyes, I saw a kind of peace I hadn't expected. I forgave her, he said simply. Not for her. For me. And in that moment, I realized Liam had truly become a man. Not because of the hardships he endured, but because he chose to rise above them, because he chose grace over bitterness. Life moved on. I eventually met someone new, someone kind, genuine, untainted by old wounds. We took things slow. No grand promises, just quiet, steady love. Liam graduated, built a life of his own, strong and true. Clara found a quiet kind of happiness too. Not in romance, but in rebuilding trust, with the son she thought she had lost forever. And me? I realize that some stories don't end with happily ever after. They end with healing, with second chances, with the quiet triumph of choosing love even after the storm has passed. Because sometimes the greatest victories in life are not the ones that make headlines, but the ones where you simply refuse to let pain define who you become. Thank you, my amazing subscribers. Wow, what a journey. If you've made it to the end of this story, I just want to take a moment to say thank you. Your support means everything to me. Every time you watch, like, and comment, you're helping keep this channel alive and growing. And trust me, the best is yet to come. I see all your comments. I feel your love, and I truly appreciate each and every one of you. If this story touched your heart, hit that like button and drop a comment below. I'd love to hear what you think. Your thoughts and feedback inspire me to create even more powerful stories. And if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you never miss a new upload. More shocking twists, emotional journeys, and real-life lessons are on the way, and I don't want you to miss a single one. Together, we're building an incredible community, and I'm so grateful to have you on this journey with me. Stay strong, stay inspired, and remember, sometimes life's greatest lessons come from the most unexpected moments. See you in the next story.